been pretty bulletproof. I've been driving it for 30 years. All I do is change the oil.
What if I told you that somewhere in Burbank, California, there is a building the size of a small airport, packed wall to wall with some of the rarest, most jaw-dropping, most obscenely valuable automobiles ever built by human hands? We are talking about a collection worth close to $50 million, featuring everything from a car that runs on salad dressing to a diamond-encrusted Swedish hypercar that costs nearly $5 million. And at the very top of the list sits a single automobile so rare, so historically significant, that Jay himself has said it would be the first thing he would save if the whole place caught fire. Hi, my name is Johnny, and this is American Muscle. 1963. Chrysler Turbine Car. Estimated value, $415,000. We start our journey into Jay Leno's cathedral of automotive greatness with a car that sounds like something out of a science fiction novel. The 1963 Chrysler Turbine Car. And yes, before you ask, it is exactly what it sounds like. A car powered by a gas turbine engine in 1963. While most Americans were driving around in boxy sedans worrying about the Cold War, Chrysler was out here building a car that could theoretically run on peanut oil, or perfume, or tequila. Apparently, the turbine engine was so flexible in its fuel requirements that it could burn almost any flammable liquid you poured into it, which, as Jay Leno himself has pointed out, makes it one of the most interesting and impractical automobiles ever conceived. The engine was fascinating in theory, but noisy, inefficient, and ultimately unworkable as a mainstream proposition, which is exactly why Chrysler pulled the plug on the whole program before it ever reached the public. Here is where the story gets genuinely heartbreaking. Chrysler produced 55 of these cars, 55, and when the program was canceled, the company destroyed all but 9 of them. 9 survivors from an original run of 55. Those 9 remaining examples were either donated to museums or quietly found their way into the hands of serious private collectors. Jay Leno is one of only 2 private individuals in the entire world who owns a 1963 Chrysler Turbine Car. 2 people on the entire planet. He paid an estimated $415,000 for his example. And if you ask us, that is an absolute bargain for something this rare and this historically significant. This is not just a car. This is a piece of American industrial history that almost ceased to exist entirely. The fact that Jay has it, drives it, and shares it with the world through his YouTube channel is exactly why the man deserves every single one of those 2 football fields. 2017 Ford GT. Estimated value, $453,750. If the Chrysler Turbine is automotive history preserved in amber, the 2017 Ford GT is America's war cry, fired directly at the heart of European supercar dominance. And what a war cry it is. You have to understand the mythology behind the Ford GT before you can truly appreciate what Jay has sitting in his garage. Back in 1966, Henry Ford II was so furious at Enzo Ferrari for pulling out of a sale at the last minute that he personally funded a racing program specifically designed to humiliate Ferrari at Le Mans. And humiliate them he did. The Ford GT40 won the 24 Hours of Le Mans outright in 1966. Then came back and won it again in 1967, then again in 1968, and again in 1969. That is 4 consecutive wins. In the world's most brutal endurance race, built purely out of spite. Honestly, one of the greatest stories in motorsport history. 50 years later, in 2016, Ford returned to Le Mans with the all-new Ford GT and finished first in class. The lineage is real, the performance is devastating, and Jay Leno's 2017 example represents the absolute cutting edge of what American engineering can produce. The Ford GT is powered by a twin-turbocharged 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6 engine producing 647 horsepower, a top speed of 216 miles per hour, and it gets 11 miles per gallon, which, at this price point, nobody is counting. His example is estimated to be worth $453,750. For a car built on 50 years of Le Mans glory, that almost seems reasonable. 2005 Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren, estimated value $497,750. Now, when you take one of the most iconic luxury car brands on the planet and ask one of the most successful racing constructors in Formula One history to help you build a supercar together, you had better believe the result is going to be something special. The 2005 Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren is exactly that. Something very, very special. This is a car born from a partnership between Mercedes-Benz and McLaren Automotive, two names that together carry more combined motorsport heritage than almost any other collaboration in automotive history. The SLR was built at McLaren's facility in Woking, England, and it showed. Every single detail of this car was engineered with a level of precision that bordered on obsessive. Jay Leno's personal SLR McLaren is powered by a supercharged 5.4-liter V8 engine producing 618 horsepower. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.8 seconds and had a top speed of 207 miles per hour. When it originally rolled off the assembly line, the MSRP was roughly $454,500. Jay's example today is estimated to be worth just under $500,000. What is remarkable about Jay's relationship with this car is entirely consistent with how he approaches his entire collection. He does not buy these cars to park them behind velvet ropes and admire them from a distance. He drives them hard, regularly, on public roads, like a man who genuinely loves automobiles rather than a man who loves the idea of owning them. There is a difference, and Jay Leno represents that difference better than almost anyone alive. 1955 Mercedes 300 SL Gullwing Coupe, estimated value $1.8 million.
You know, the reason this car didn't come with a radio, you didn't need one. It's very entertaining to drive.
Right, now we are getting into genuinely rarefied territory, because the car we are about to discuss is not just one of the most valuable in Jay Leno's collection. It is widely regarded by serious automotive historians, collectors, and enthusiasts as one of the greatest automobiles ever produced by any manufacturer, in any era, anywhere in the world. The 1955 Mercedes 300 SL Gullwing Coupe. Just saying the name out loud feels like a privilege. The Gullwing gets its name from those impossibly dramatic upward swinging doors that open like the wings of a giant bird. And they remain to this day one of the most visually stunning design choices ever made in automotive history. When this car debuted in the early 1950s, it was so far ahead of everything else on the road that it almost seemed alien. The 3-liter inline 6-cylinder engine produced 180 horsepower at the wheels, and when Jay's team finished their extensive restoration work on it, that is exactly what it delivered. Now here is something important to understand about Jay's Gullwing specifically. He did not buy it in showroom condition. He acquired it as a restoration project, which meant investing significant additional resources into getting it back to the condition it deserved to be in. His team rebuilt the 3-liter 6-cylinder engine from the ground up, and the result is a car that not only looks spectacular, but actually drives the way Mercedes intended it to drive back in 1955. He is the third owner of this particular example, which was originally a race vehicle. A genuine race pedigreed 300 SL Gullwing, restored to driving condition and kept in a private collection. The current estimated value sits at $1.8 million, and honestly, for a car this significant, that feels like a bargain. Some things in life are simply irreplaceable. 1939 Lagonda V12, estimated value $2.56 million. Here is where things get interesting, because most people watching this video have probably never heard of Lagonda, and that is exactly the point. While everyone is busy talking about Ferraris and Lamborghinis, the truly knowledgeable collectors, the ones who understand automotive history at the deepest level, they know about Lagonda. And Jay Leno absolutely knows about Lagonda. Lagonda is a British luxury automobile manufacturer with a history stretching back to the early 1900s. The brand is closely associated with Aston Martin, which actually acquired Lagonda back in 1947, and the two brands have shared DNA ever since. But the pre-war Lagondas, the ones built in the 1930s, those are something entirely separate. Those are rolling sculptures built during an era when coach builders treated each automobile as an individual work of art. Jay's 1939 Lagonda V12 is the perfect embodiment of that philosophy. Built in the final year before the Second World War effectively halted luxury automobile production across Europe, this car represents the absolute pinnacle of what British craftsmanship could produce at that moment in history. The V12 engine is silky, refined, and devastatingly elegant in the way that only pre-war British engineering can be. With an estimated value of $2.56 million, this is one of the more financially significant cars in Leno's collection. And yet, it is also one of the least talked about, which tells you everything you need to know about just how deep and how serious this collection truly is. Most collectors would consider a $2.5 million pre-war British V12 the crown jewel of their entire garage. For Jay, it sits comfortably at number 6. 1967 Lamborghini Miura P400. Estimated value $3.5 million. If you want to understand where the modern supercar was born, you need to go back to 1966, when a small Italian manufacturer from Sant'Agata Bolognese unveiled a car so radical, so beautiful, and so technically ambitious that it rewrote the rulebook for what a performance automobile could be. That car was the Lamborghini Miura, and Jay Leno owns one of the finest surviving examples on Earth. Named after a famous breed of Spanish fighting bulls, consistent with Lamborghini's tradition of bull-inspired nomenclature, the Miura was designed by a young Marcello Gandini at the Bertone Design House. He was 26 years old when he drew it. 26. I was 26 eating cereal for dinner and wondering if I could afford new shoes. Marcello Gandini was out here inventing the modern supercar. Some people are just built differently. The 1967 Miura P400 that sits in Jay Leno's garage is powered by a 3.9-liter V12 Lamborghini engine, mounted transversely amidships in a layout that was genuinely revolutionary for its time. Only 764 examples of this magnificent Italian thoroughbred were ever produced, and prices for surviving examples, particularly early sport models like Jay's, have climbed into the stratosphere in recent years. With a current estimated value of $3.5 million, the Miura P400 is one of the most financially valuable cars in Leno's collection. But more importantly, it is one of the most historically significant automobiles in existence. This is the car that started it all, the forefather of every Ferrari, every McLaren, every Bugatti that came after it. Sitting in Jay Leno's garage in Burbank, California, because of course it is. Koenigsegg CCXR Trevita, estimated value $4.8 million. We have crossed into the genuinely absurd territory now, and we are absolutely here for it. The Koenigsegg CCXR Trevita. If you have never heard of this car before, allow me to explain, because this thing is extraordinary on every level imaginable. Koenigsegg is a Swedish hypercar manufacturer founded by Christian von Koenigsegg in 1994, and they have built their entire reputation on producing the most extreme, most technologically advanced, most outrageously fast automobiles that engineering physics will allow. The CCXR Trevita is the most exclusive car Koenigsegg has ever produced. And when I say exclusive, I mean that with complete seriousness. Only 2 production examples were ever built. 2. In the entire world. Jay Leno owns one of them. The Trevita name comes from the Swedish words for 3 and white, which refers to the car's extraordinary exterior finish. Rather than conventional carbon fiber, which is typically black, the Trevita uses a proprietary Koenigsegg process that coats individual carbon fibers with a diamond dust impregnated resin before weaving them together. The result is a body that appears to shimmer and sparkle in sunlight like a moving diamond. It is, without question, one of the most visually spectacular automobiles ever created by human hands. Beneath that diamond-dusted exterior sits a twin supercharged 4.7-liter V8 engine producing 1,018 horsepower. The Trevita accelerates from a complete standstill to 62 miles per hour in just 2.9 seconds. It will reach 125 miles per hour in 8.75 seconds and has a claimed top speed of over 254 miles per hour, $4.8 million for a diamond-dusted, 1,000-horsepower Swedish engineering masterpiece, one of two in the world. Honestly, when you put it that way, it sounds almost reasonable. 1994, McLaren F1, estimated value, $12 million. We have arrived at the car that Jay Leno himself has described as the one he would save first if his entire garage caught fire, the 1994 McLaren F1. And if you know anything about cars, you already know exactly why. The McLaren F1 is not just a fast car. It is not just an expensive car. It is the singular most important road car produced in the second half of the 20th century. Full stop. When Gordon Murray designed the F1 in the late 1980s and early 1990s, his stated goal was simple and terrifying. He wanted to build the greatest driver's car that had ever existed or ever would exist. And by virtually every objective measure, he succeeded. McLaren produced only 107 F1s across a few short years of production. Jay's example is a 1994 model, making it one of the earlier production cars. The F1 is powered by a naturally aspirated 6.1-liter BMW V12 engine producing 618 horsepower. No turbochargers, no superchargers, just pure naturally aspirated V12 fury channeled through a 6-speed manual gearbox. The F1 has a top speed of 231 miles per hour, a figure it achieved in 1993 and which remained the fastest production car record for over a decade. It features a central driving position, meaning the driver sits in the middle of the car with a passenger seat on either side, slightly behind. Every panel, every component, every detail was engineered with a ferocity of purpose that bordered on mania. The chassis is made from carbon fiber. The engine bay is lined with gold foil for heat management, because Gordon Murray decided that gold was the most thermally efficient material available, and when you are building the greatest car ever made, you use gold. Jay Leno paid an estimated $1 million for his F1 when it was new. Today it is worth $12 million. He has told CNN that if he ever had to choose just one car to save from his entire collection, this would be the one. That tells you everything. $12 million and still the sentimental favorite. The McLaren F1 is simply without equal. 2006, EcoJet, estimated value, invaluable. Now, here is where the list takes a genuinely unique turn, because number 2 on our list is not a Ferrari. It is not a Bugatti. It is not a classic British Grand Tourer or a pre-war European masterpiece. Number 2 on our list is a car that Jay Leno designed himself, with his own hands, well, with his own vision and considerable help from his friends at General Motors. But the concept, the philosophy, and the creative direction came entirely from Jay. The 2006 EcoJet is a one-of-one custom vehicle unlike anything else in automotive history. The concept behind the EcoJet was as ambitious as it was surprising. Jay wanted to build a high-performance dream car that was also environmentally responsible, long before that combination became fashionable. The EcoJet runs on biodiesel and is powered by a 650-horsepower Honeywell LT101 turbine engine, a jet turbine engine, in a road car, built on a modified Chevrolet Corvette Z06 aluminum frame with magnesium components to keep the weight down. The design is breathtaking, long, low, and aggressively futuristic. The EcoJet looks like something that escaped from a science fiction film set in 2050. General Motors brought their top designers and engineers to the project, and the result is a vehicle that represents a genuine collaboration between one of television's most beloved personalities and one of the world's largest automobile manufacturers. You cannot buy an EcoJet. You cannot bid on one at auction. There is no amount of money that could acquire one, because only one exists, and Jay Leno built it. In terms of pure financial valuation, an argument could be made that the EcoJet is the single most valuable car in Leno's entire collection, simply because it is entirely without comparable precedent. How do you price a one-of-one celebrity-designed, turbine-powered biodiesel supercar? You cannot, which is exactly why we have listed it as invaluable. 1934 Duesenberg Walker Coupe. Estimated value $20 million. And here we are, the car that sits alone at the very top of the list. And I guarantee you, most people watching this have never heard of it. The 1934 Duesenberg Walker Coupe. Here is something most people do not know. When someone calls something a doozy, meaning exceptional, extraordinary, unlike anything else, they are literally referencing Duesenberg. That is how deeply this brand embedded itself into American culture during its brief existence in the 1920s and 30s. The name became a word. Think about that for a second. Jay Leno himself has called the Walker Coupe the most expensive Duesenberg ever made. It is the only aerodynamic version of the nameplate in existence. One of a kind. Built in 1934, right in the middle of the Great Depression, powered by a massive inline 8-cylinder engine producing 265 horsepower, at a time when most cars were producing 60 or 70. The engineering ambition is almost incomprehensible in historical context. When it was originally sold in 1934, it fetched $25,000, an extraordinary sum during the Depression. Today, Jay Leno's Walker Coupe is estimated to be worth $20 million. $20 million. A car bought for $25,000 now worth $20 million. If that is not the greatest automotive investment in American history, I genuinely do not know what is. And here is the part that will never stop being remarkable. Jay Leno actually drives it, regularly. This is not a museum piece behind velvet ropes. This is a $20 million automobile that a man gets behind the wheel of and takes out on the road. Because that is exactly who Jay Leno is, and honestly, there is nobody else quite like him. So, there you have it. Jay Leno's most expensive and most legendary automobiles, from the $415,000 Chrysler Turbine that runs on peanut oil all the way up to the $20 million Duesenberg Walker Coupe that is the most expensive doozy ever made. A collection with a total estimated value approaching $50 million, housed in a 122,000 square foot facility, driven and maintained by a man who genuinely loves every single one of them. What makes Jay Leno's collection remarkable is not just the price tags. Plenty of billionaires own expensive cars. What makes this collection truly extraordinary is the passion, the knowledge, the depth of understanding, and the genuine mechanical affection behind every single acquisition. Jay Leno does not buy cars to own them. He buys them to understand them, to preserve them, to share them, and to drive them. And that, more than any dollar figure, is what makes this the greatest private automobile collection in the world. Which car was your favorite? Drop it in the comments below. And if you are not already subscribed to American Muscle, what are you waiting for? We are just getting started.